Hola, hola, hola. Hello, 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 beloveds. It's me, Sunshine Day, your spiritual living coach, and welcome to another episode of a spiritual remedy conversation and meditation. I see a world where clean and sober people are living their best life and loving it. So it is my joy to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal transformation. That is what brings me great joy. I get great joy about guiding folks and helping folks to recognize that indwelling power and presence that is the solution to all of their daily living problems. And that's why every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, I come live to simply speak to that truth and to simply bring the possibility of you living your best life. Now, when I talk about addiction and when I talk about alcoholism, I'm really talking about those things that are what has been coined by Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, weapons of mass distraction. Those things, whether it be drugs or alcohol, pills, gambling, whether it be sex, whether it be shopping, whether it be stress or anxiety or even fear, those things that distract us from living our best life, those things that because they become such a habit, they become an addiction, and we cannot live without them in our lives. And so when that one thing is the catalyst for you losing everything, are you then willing to be rid of or be healed of the one thing so that you can gain everything? Right? It's just like, wow, what is that one thing that has me so tight, so bound, so addictive, and I keep coming back? It could even be a person, a relationship. And so this month we've started talking about the topic of faith. And let's define faith just so that we have a working knowledge as we're together for just this next 30 minutes. Faith is a deep belief, so convincing that there's nothing else that could possibly happen. Here it is again, though: complete trust or confidence in someone or something without proof. In other words, you have no proof that it could happen, but you believe so deeply, so strongly, so intently, and so intensely that the only possible outcome is the thing itself. And when I think about faith in respects to recovery and people in recovery, what I want to share with you is that at some point or another, we come to believe that we can recover. It's not something like automatically that happens for some people, even though for others, they hit such a bottom that the only way out is, like the country song says, sideways or up. So, thank goodness for rock bottom and hitting rock bottom. When we're so fed up, my mom used to say, "Estoy harta, estoy hasta aquí." Hasta aquí. And this was just kind of like, I am fed up, I am tired, I'm up to here. And when I'm up to here, I'm drowning. And so I have to buoy up to catch my breath. I have to buoy up in order to release myself from those things that have kept me bound. And in the beginning, some folks don't have an idea about their own faith. Sometimes people say that they lose their faith. We talked about that in last week's episode, and I'll just touch on it a little bit today. My belief is that you never, ever lose your faith. You never lose your faith. It's just a question as to where you have placed your faith. Are you placing your faith in what you don't want to happen, or are you placing your faith in what you do want to have happen, for you? So faith, another way to look at faith is, faith is also fear. That is, trusting and believing in something else. Or faith is also worry. When you're worrying about life, about the things that are happening, this is an opportunity for you to actually recognize that your faith is pointed or directed in the area that you don't want. And it can sometimes be like fully 100% there. So here's how we get an opportunity to use our faith for our good, how we can begin to build our trust and build ourselves up to such a degree that the only possible outcome is the thing itself that we're searching for and looking for. And so if you have any questions about faith, go ahead and put them in the chat so that we can address those things. I want to share with you that we use faith all the time. When we travel, when we get in the car, when we get on the bus, when we're going from place to place, we have faith that the bus driver knows how to drive the bus. We don't have proof. We don't even know the bus driver. We don't know her. We don't know him. We don't know the pilot when we get on a plane, but we have faith. We have faith that they know what they're doing and that we're going to get there. Now, how does that then now come and land right here at home? And here at home, the question then becomes, do I have faith, or how much faith am I putting into my recovery? Is this something that I can begin to utilize for my good and for my highest good? And what I want to share with you is that I believe that you absolutely can. It is just a matter of exercising and using your faith as if it were a muscle that you were training in the gym for. If you wanted to build some biceps or your triceps or your quads and your legs, you would use specific exercises to isolate those particular muscles. You would use equipment that actually target and work those particular muscles. And so it is with faith. As we begin to exercise faith, there are exercises and there are things that we can engage in on a regular basis to actually strengthen our faith, because faith is indeed trust. So here's what I know. What I know is that there is an indwelling power and presence. Some people call it God. Some people call it higher power, infinite intelligence, the great reality. Some people call it, Mother Earth, Father Sky. This power and presence, I call it life. I call it prana at times, that life force, that essence that enlivens me, that thing that separates me from a corpse. So how I begin to trust life is I have to get to know life. I got to get to know God. I have to get to know a higher power. When I am in trust, I can give and hand over the keys to my car to someone. Now, I wouldn't hand over the keys to my car to a 12-year-old. A, not legal. B, for them to drive. B, I'm not sure how much, drive time they've had. What I can share with you is that to the degree to which I get to know you, to the degree in which I get to know this living spirit, this presence, this power, and I begin to actually be in relationship with it, as I begin to recognize that it is my life, then and only then does my trust begin to grow and extend. And because faith is complete trust and complete belief in something or someone without proof, it's like, hey, I don't have any proof. I don't have any proof, but I'm going to build this relationship. I am going to begin to explore this indwelling power and presence. Many great writers talk about life, capital Life, talk about God, talk about a higher power. You know, many of the great religions speak that God is within. And I too believe that and know that for myself, based on my spiritual practices and based on the spiritual practices that I've engaged in. But I got to tell you that, sometimes when I'm not spiritually fit, my faith wavers. In other words, some of it could be over here, but then some is over here. And then I begin to look over there, and then my faith comes over here into something that I don't want. And so it's kind of like, how do I bring my faith back to the central focus of what it is that I do want? And so I honestly believe that right where you are, you can continue to engage in spiritual practices so that you're building your faith. And that's what we get an opportunity to do this month. We get an opportunity to begin to build our faith. And we have this opportunity to do so even right now. So actually, I want us to jump into an exercise and something that will assist in possibly building your faith, right? And so if you're in a comfortable place, a place where you can close your eyes gently, what I want to do is invite you to just slow down, be still, and be silent. Now, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. If you want, you can close your eyes to kind of like shut off the world in a sense. But I want you to just notice that your heart is beating and you're not telling your brain, your mind, to beat it. That it is not a conscious effort. Because otherwise, when you were asleep, your heart wouldn't continue to beat. So just notice that you're also breathing. And notice that you didn't have to say to yourself, okay, breathe, keep breathing, breathe, breathe, breathe. No. Notice that you are breathing on your own, for those of you who are. Notice that if you've had a beverage or some food, that it is naturally digesting. And this is all just happening within your body. That there's this divine order right where you are. That there's this infinite intelligence that is coursing your blood through your veins and arteries. That it's bringing oxygen to your brain and to your other organs. Notice that for yourself. And notice that this is happening beyond your conscious level. Now, this power, this presence, this infinite intelligence that is living you, it is actually living you. That is a power and a presence and an intelligence way beyond our human capacity. And notice too that this is happening within your body. I'm going to invite you to gently open your eyes and even look and examine like your hands, because you have this skin, this beautiful skin that is protecting you from elements. That when you get cut, it automatically begins this healing process. Now, mind you, this infinite intelligence is contained in your body, right? In the body. Now, this infinite intelligence is also beyond the body, because then when you look at me on this screen, or when you look at others that may be around you, that same exact power and presence and intelligence is living and being and having its way as the people. If you have furry creatures and children and plants and animals and all kinds of things, that this infinite intelligence is also operating fully there. Now, this power and presence that is there, right where you are, and then everywhere, that is a power that I can begin to trust, because I trust that when I lay down to sleep at night, I trust and I have faith that I will awaken in the morning. I don't have proof. Yeah, I woke up this morning, but I don't have proof about tomorrow morning or about later. But I'm living from that faith. I'm living from it. I utilize it for my good, and I utilize it for the good of others. Now, let's tie this back into our recovery. When we begin to focus on our own recovery, when we begin to actually focus and kind of go, hey, you know what, those drugs, those alcohols, that pill, that gambling, the shopping, the anxiety, the stress that I've been addicted to, that don't mean me no good. And I begin now to focus on that indwelling power and presence. That power and presence that animates my body, that animates your body, is so much bigger and more powerful than any drugs, alcohol, people, gambling, any behavior. So I begin to simply ask, what is for my highest and best? How do I get to know a little more intimately this power and presence that is living me? When I begin to turn away by closing my eyes, I begin to listen with my internal ears. And I listen for that still small voice, not the stinking thinking, but the still small voice within me that is actually my internal GPS. It's interesting to recognize and to know this power and presence. It's almost like making a discovery of a pot of gold or electricity or something that you didn't know was there before. Because now, as a result of developing and actually coming into it with it's just a little more than a curiosity. It's like, I'm interested. I'm interested in this part of me that is not my body and not my mind. I'm interested in this spirit and this indwelling power and presence, this prana, this life force, this isness. I'm interested to discover more about it. And as we begin to discover more about this indwelling power and presence, wow. So for me, when I begin to recognize that in me, there's a power and a presence that I could use for good, that I could use for my good, that I could use for the good of the planet, I no longer feel powerless over people, places, things. I actually am now joined with the most powerful presence that there is. So now I feel powerful. And now I am empowered to begin to pursue a life in recovery. Recovery for me means recovering my whole self, not getting back to that place that I used to be. I am recovering my whole self. I am recovering my true self. And who is my true self? Here is the truth of who you are. You are abundance. You are power and presence and peace and harmony. You are infinite intelligence. You are divine order and beauty and creativity. You are love and joy. That is the truth of who you are. That is the essence, the power of the essence that is right where you are. And to the degree in which you begin to actually recognize that truth, you are no longer weak. You're no longer weak. You're no longer powerless. You actually are powerful. But what are you powerful about? You are powerful and empowered in making choices and decisions for your life that are for your highest and your best. Now, in this human form, we're still quote unquote powerless. In other words, what I mean by that is, take some X-Lax and try, not to poop, right? When you take that diuretic, once it's in your system, it's going to do what it do. So we're still powerless, but we're powerless because we've put it into our system. Where we become powerful is when we shift our focus from the substance and the spirits, meaning the chemical substances, the drug substances, and the spirits, the liquors, all those liquors. When we switch from the little s, spirits and substance, to the capital S, spirit and substance. God is my source. Life is my source. The great I am is my source. Infinite intelligence is my source. Alcohol, booze, gambling, sex, shopping, all of those weapons of mass distraction, that is not my source. When I'm tapped into my source, I can begin to utilize my faith to live fully. I can go out. I can be in crowds. I can be with people. I can be where there's, these things happening. And because I am higher powered, if you will, I am steeped in source. I recognize the third part of what makes me human, mind, body, spirit. Now I recognize and I'm actually paying attention to the spirit part of me. And now I'm empowered. And now from there, I can live from my faith, from my belief and my conviction, even without proof. I don't need to see proof. There's this indwelling power and presence that I live from that actually assists me on my road of recovery. It provides the vision, la vista, to which I go, wait a minute, my life is the life of God. My life is life itself. And so to the degree in which I practice and put certain practices in place, it's to that degree that I live my genuine life. And so I'm super excited because, small groups continue to form. And what I'm encouraging folks to do is to head over to my site, aspiritualremedy.com. And on aspiritualremedy.com, you'll see that I have small groups in which you put together, like, anywhere from 3 to 8 people. And we pick a day and a time for the next 90 days. And for those next 90 days, I guide you as your spiritual living coach. I guide you in exercises and assignments and practices and conversations so that you discover for yourself. The key is that you get to discover this for yourself. I'm not going to give you anything. I'm going to guide you to that discovery. And the way that I like to really highlight that for you is this way. When I was a kid and I was trying to learn how to ride a bike, somebody told me about balance. You just got to balance. You just got to balance. And they said that the balance was inside of me. I didn't know what balance was. What is balance? What is balance? I don't know anything about balance. I don't even know where to find it inside of me. But I had training wheels. And I'd still lean and use those, right? I get to be y'all's training wheel for a little while. But then after a while, my grandmother held the back of the bike and she would run with me a little bit, holding my seat, and she would let go and I didn't have balance, so I would fall. And I kept getting up and trying it and trying it and trying it again until finally it happened. I discovered balance. I discovered it right within me. It was there all along. I just didn't know, but I had to continue to try and try and try. And one day she was running with me, and the next thing I am there pedaling, and she is no longer holding my bike. And I'm feeling the air on my face and I'm pedaling, and I discovered balance. And my life changed ever since I discovered balance. And it's the same for you, beloved. When you discover that indwelling power and presence within you, like you discovered balance and how balance helps us in each and every day of our life, this is the kind of stuff that really, truly helps in our recovery. So I encourage you to get a few of your friends together and go ahead and sign up for one of the small groups. I'll pick a day that's convenient, a date and time that's convenient for the group, and we'll work through it. And in the next 90 days, you can watch your life transform, because I will provide the spiritual tools and the loving support for your personal transformation. Know that you are loved. Know that you are indeed the life of God living in, through, and as you. And that by exercising our faith muscle, we recover. And as people in recovery, we can live our best life and love it. That is certainly the vision that I have for each and every one of us. So until next Monday, know that I deeply appreciate you and your time today. And I look forward to seeing you again right here next Monday. Bye for now.
Celebrate life. You celebrate your life. Celebrate the memories, the birds and the trees, the hugs and the kisses, the hits and the misses.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Don't wait till it's too late.
Love and appreciate.
Love and appreciate.
Show them that you care.
Show them that you care, and you'll always be there.
Yeah.
Celebrate life. Rejoice, rejoice. Celebrate life. Rejoice